Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's February 2nd, 2020. Okay. Let's get right into it. 8 inches per mile squared. 8 inches per mile squared. Eight inches per mile squared. That's your planet. That's what you live on, apparently. That's what we were told when we were in high school and middle school and many other years, and we had this big globe in front of us, sitting right there. They don't do it in college, but through your scholastic years from first grade all the way up until you graduate, there's always a globe somewhere. I can guarantee you that. One mile, 8 inches, of course. 2 miles, 32 inches. 3 miles, 72 inches. And this is where it gets a little crazy. This is where that hump should be. Right about here. 4 miles, 128 inches. And you go all the way down to 100 miles. Wow. We're talking about 6,066 feet. Amazing. I like those numbers, 666, 333. This is wrong, this diagram. Completely wrong. It's bullshit. I'm not saying the Earth is round. Oh, it is. But it's flat. See, that's the thing. See, it's round, but it's flat. There is no space. There are no stars. There's nothing. What you're watching up there is something you'd see in the Hayden Planetarium down in New York City, which NDT is actually the VP of. That's right, NDT. Who claims that the Earth is actually pear-shaped. That's our leading scientist. But nobody sees that. Nobody manages to talk about that at all. Nobody talks about the Space Challenger accident that happened in 1986 when these astronauts are still alive. We've proven it. Nobody talks about that. They all exploded. There is not a single person with that sort of background or education that would sit on a rocket with all that rocket fuel, worrying about that it might explode. Not a single astronaut will ever go on there. If you want to call them astronauts, because they're not going into space. So what actually do we call them? Space Rangers? I don't know, because that's obviously what it must be. Space Ranger. A cartoon character. All the education, all the money that they they didn't spend any money because it's all been bought and paid for through NASA. They have no student loans. They have nothing. They've got nice houses and long driveways, and they're set for life. Meanwhile, this is what we're given. Mathematical computations that 95% of us will never even look at. Ever. Because who would? As far as they're concerned, we're a planet, and we're floating through space. I have a boat. It's about 12 feet long, 12 and a half feet long. And I don't take it in the ocean. I'm a freshwater fisherman. If I'm on the Sound, if I'm actually out in the ocean, I want to be at least 2 or 3 miles out there. 2 or 3 miles on a little boat like mine, which is only about 48 inches in height, is 32 inches. Should be the curvature of the Earth. So you could probably only see, like, if my boat's this big, you could probably only see about this, right here. That's only 2 miles. See, the P900 and the P1000 zoom in a lot longer distance than that, and it's HD. We pulled up islands, we pulled up cities from 50 miles away. And let's take a look at the computations on 50 miles away. According to this is what the scientists have made for us here on the mathematical computation of the Earth. 50 miles should be almost, just a little bit shy of a half a mile, 1,667 feet. Now, the Empire State Building, I believe, is 1,100 feet. The Freedom Tower, I believe, is in the city, that's in Manhattan, 1,400 feet. That's quite large. Mountains can go up to about 3,500 feet, maybe even taller than that. The Himalayas. White-Faced Mountain in Canada. My point is, there's no curvature. There's none. Absolutely nothing. And this is what just kind of see, now if this was right, then how can we see all these boats and all these islands and all these buildings from such a short distance away? How is that possible? Why are they wrong? Why would they give a diagram like that? I have no problem with the Earth being round. Yeah, it is. It is round. But it's flat. It's surrounded by ice walls, covered with a dome. And there is no space. People ask about the eclipse. These are self-illuminating objects. It seems like to me. I can't confirm it, but that's what it seems like to me. When something is projecting cold and something's projecting heat, I would say these are two separate objects. That could project whatever you want, whatever color you want, at whatever time of year. The blue moon, the blood moon, the red moon. It's an amazing light show, isn't it? And that's all it is. What happens if these objects weren't ever able to get to? Almost like rainbows. They're there, you see them, they're projecting something. You can see it with your own eyes, but what happens if you try to launch something to it and you just can never get to it? It's kind of weird to think about. But eventually it would hit the dome. I don't know. I don't even know where the hell I'm going with this, but look, you live on a flat land. You're not going anywhere. You're stationary. You're not moving. Anybody with seasickness could vouch for me. Any slight movement. Somebody with seasickness in my car. They see another, the best way to really describe it is if a truck is moving, forward, and you're stationary. You feel like you're moving. That's only on a street. You feel that sensation of moving. You feel like you're moving. But yet, when you get out of that car, you are not looking at that. You're stationary. You're not moving. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos and let me be a part of your life.